Very good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the Duke-NUS virtual graduation ceremony. We're celebrating the class of 2021 today. Guest of honor, Dr. Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry. Professor Tan Eng Chai, President of the National University of Singapore. Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO Sing Health. Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman and members of the board. Mr. Tony Chew, Founding Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Kai Nagelwala, former Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean, Duke-NUS, faculty, alumni, students, class of 2021, and all the families. My name is Suzanne Goh, and I'm the Associate Dean of Student Affairs, and it is my honor and privilege to be your Master of Ceremonies for this event. Before we start, here are some housekeeping rules. I would like to inform you that this session is being recorded and live streamed on Facebook. We may also use the footage and images in the school's digital and print publications. We respectfully ask that you keep your microphones muted throughout the event unless specifically directed. When we recite the Hippocratic Oath, I welcome all doctors present to unmute their microphones and join the graduating class and faculty to recite the oath together. I thank you all for your kind cooperation and participation in making this a most wonderful celebration. So I would now like to invite Dean Thomas Kaufman to start us off with the welcome message. Dean Kaufman, please.
Thanks, Suzanne. Good afternoon, everyone. Guest of honor, Dr. Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry, Professor Tan Eng Chai, President, National University of Singapore, Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO Sing Health, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Chairman, Duke-NUS Governing Board, and members of the board, Mr. Tony Chew, Founding Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Kai Nagelwala, former Chairman of Duke-NUS Governing Board, Class of 2021 and their families, faculty and students, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues. Thank you all for joining us today to celebrate the graduation of the class of 2021. Just 3 weeks ago, we were planning to commemorate this graduation in person with graduates and their family members at the University Cultural Center on the main NUS campus. But one thing we've learned from this pandemic is to expect the unexpected. Or as the noted medical philosopher Forrest Gump once said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, we certainly didn't expect to get another spike in COVID-19 cases, but this is a crafty virus, and unfortunately, we were forced to change to a virtual ceremony today. But since we've all become quite fluent in the art of Zoom, let's not allow the format of the ceremony to distract from the main purpose today, which is to celebrate and applaud the achievements of an extraordinary group of graduates. So let me begin with a hearty congratulations to the class of 2021 and to your families and loved ones who supported you along the way. So please join me in a round of virtual Zoom applause. Cue the applause. That was pretty good. Class of 2021, you faced substantial disruptions to your training because of COVID. For the medical students, you were initially limited in the scope of your clinical rotations with an inability to freely move between hospital campuses, confined to specific wards, and with limitations in the types of activities and procedures you could perform. Nonetheless, with persistence and resilience, you stayed the course. I commend you for your adaptability and your commitment. I also really want to recognize our education team for their creativity and dedication to assuring that your clinical education would continue without interruption. They worked closely with our Sing Health partners and the Ministry of Health to enable you to return to the wards as soon as it was safe to do so, while at the same time rolling out an expanded program of simulations, allowing you to hone your clinical skills outside of the hospitals and clinics. Indeed, a Duke-NUS graduate from a previous class who had worked with some of you during the student internship program commented that you were much more prepared for HO postings than she was at your stage and much more confident in your clinical skills. And you also demonstrated your readiness for PGY1 by acing all your finals, so very well done to all. It's worth noting that COVID also caused considerable mayhem for our PhD students. Many critical experiments were interrupted when the circuit breaker forced most laboratory activity to stop. Yet the number of publications by Duke-NUS researchers actually increased last year, suggesting that many of you took advantage of the time outside the lab to reflect and write. And of course, all of you also had to defend your theses by Zoom, which is yet another new pandemic experience. Before going further, I'd like to express my gratitude officially to our guest of honor, Dr. Tan Si Lang, for joining us today. Dr. Tan is certainly a role model of a clinician plus plus, as he's a clinician, entrepreneur, leader, now a politician. He's been a transformative influence on Singapore's healthcare landscape, leading several large healthcare groups, including the Parkway Pantai Group, which he helmed from 2010 to 2019. And of course, he's no stranger to Duke-NUS. He has a passion for education and was an adjunct faculty member in our education office for almost a decade. I would also like to gratefully acknowledge that during his tenure at Parkway, the company provided a generous endowment to establish the Mount Elizabeth Glen Eagles Graduate Scholarship, from which the first scholarships were awarded last year to 8 deserving medical students from the class of 2024. We look forward to Dr. Tan's remarks in just a few moments. But let me turn back now to the business at hand, the graduating class of 2021. You came to us from diverse backgrounds. Some of you have worked in roles ranging from accountancy and finance to engineering, nursing, and teaching. And you had already earned your stripes at some of the world's top universities, including Cambridge, Melbourne, Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, and UC San Diego, not to mention Duke and NUS. During your time with us, you didn't just build an academic legacy, you also cultivated your own unique class spirit, brightening our campus and benefiting the wider community. You organized health screenings for disadvantaged families, fought endemic anxiety and depression through your organization, I'm Steady La, and helped raise awareness of brain cancer in children. So today we're celebrating 54 newly minted MDs, 2 individuals receiving combined MD PhDs, along with 6 PhD recipients, including our very first quantitative biology and medicine PhD graduate. We launched this QBM program in 2017 to support Singapore's drive to train more experts who can apply data science to medicine and biology, a burgeoning field that will play a key role in the coming transformation of biomedical science. Personally, I must say that I really am sad to miss the opportunity of congratulating you in person, shaking your hand, and passing you your degree. But we hope to hold a separate in-person celebration when conditions allow. Nonetheless, today officially marks the end of your journey with Duke-NUS. But this is also the beginning of an exciting new phase in your careers and lives. For the PhD graduates, you may be moving on to a postdoc, a position in industry, or perhaps another calling in science or beyond. For the MD graduates, you will be entering the practical phase of professional training as clinicians, a very busy yet exciting and fulfilling time. You will have the privilege and opportunity to learn from the vast array of patients and outstanding clinicians across Singapore's public health system. And the majority of you will remain within the SingHealth Duke-NUS Academic Medical Center, learning to be doctors in a setting where high quality clinical care comes together with education, research, and innovation. I urge you to take full advantage of these experiences, always showing compassion to your patients and to your colleagues. This will make a difference in your own happiness and fulfillment as a doctor. So go forth, be open to the unexpected, and let the edges of science and medicine inspire you to create greater things for your patients, society, and the world. I'm certainly confident that you will do this. And while you'll be leaving the physical confines of Duke-NUS, I urge you to stay connected with the school by joining our flourishing Duke-NUS Medical Alumni Group. With that, let me congratulate you, class of 2021. I wish you all fulfilling and rewarding careers. Back to you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Dean. I'm now delighted to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Tan Si Lang, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry, to deliver the keynote address. Minister, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Professor Tan Chai, President of the National University of Singapore, Chairman, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, and members of the Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Tony Chew, Mr. Kai Nagawala, Professor Ivy Ng, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean of Duke-NUS, distinguished guests, graduates, parents, faculty, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to join all of you here to witness this very important milestone for the class of 2021. As a doctor myself, I can empathize and understand very well the endless hours of sacrifice, the angst, the sweat, the tears that you must have all endured and shed to get to where you are today. And I know that every one of you here has completed the last 2 years under conditions few, in fact, probably no class have ever faced previously as a result of this unprecedented pandemic, resulting in drastically reduced access to patients, to clinics, to wards, and even to the labs. So all the more, it is with my most heartfelt congratulations to all of you, the class of 2021, for not only overcoming these challenges, but also emerging victorious. Your journey today would also not have been possible without the support of the many people around you. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the unstinting support you've received from your friends, your loved ones, your families, as well as the faculty and staff of Duke-NUS Medical School, as well as the school's academic medicine partner, SingHealth. I've been told that your class of 2021 is a very diverse batch. You've all come from different backgrounds. You bring together different experiences, but you are united in your calling and your shared passion for medicine. And I'm also pleased to hear that we are celebrating the first graduate of the Duke-NUS Quantitative Biology and Medicine PhD program, Mr. Kwan Pei Yong. Pei Yong was a bioinformatics specialist at the Genome Institute of Singapore before joining Professor Tay Bin Tian's group in the National Cancer Centre, Singapore. It was Professor Tay who encouraged Pei Yong to pursue the PhD under him. After graduation, Pei Yong will return to the Genome Institute of Singapore to work on therapeutics for rare and aggressive forms of kidney cancers. As Professor Kaufman previously mentioned, this program is an invaluable catalyst to help fulfill our nation's need for trained data scientists in the healthcare sector. And I'm confident, as well as very hopeful, that more will follow in Pei Yong's footsteps. Besides medical research, data science and other forms of deep technology can also bring about incredible benefits to numerous areas in healthcare and medical technology. Accelerated by this pandemic, innovation in the medical technology sector spiked over the last year. Take Dr. Rina Damawan's SwapBot, for example. Dr. Rina is a consultant surgeon at the National Cancer Centre of Singapore, as well as a clinical entrepreneur in residence at the Centre for Technology and Development in Duke-NUS. Last year, putting her training as a bioengineer and doctor to good use, Dr. Rina spearheaded the first fully patient-controlled nasal swab robot, the SwapBot. The SwapBot allowed our frontline healthcare workers to help with the swabbing process at a safe distance. This not only reduced the swabber's risk of exposure to the virus, but also helped to improve the overall patient experience. Now, deep technology like big data analytics, blockchain, and artificial intelligence are also transforming the face of healthcare, especially in the areas of diagnostic precision and treatment modalities. Big data helps medical experts analyze patterns in the genetic data of patient populations, allowing them to provide patients with more targeted treatment options, more precise forecasting of disease progression, and better disease risk prediction. Blockchain technology can also be the solution to prevailing data issues in the healthcare industry by providing hospitals and clinics with faster access to trusted information and enabling secure and an integrated patient data sharing. This will reduce delays. It will reduce potential inconveniences, especially when patients visit the different hospitals and different clinics. The application of AI in the health analytics of data derived from digital services could also lead to great innovations in personalized healthcare for everyone. In fact, according to the 2021 Personalized Healthcare Index for Asia Pacific by Roche, Singapore is the regional leader in personalized healthcare readiness. Personalized healthcare, like precision oncology, leverages insights from medical and genomic data to help make more precise treatment decisions for patients based on their tailored individual clinical profile. This type of individually tailored healthcare can bring about tremendous benefits to patients, perhaps even someday allowing certain cancers to be relegated to a chronic disease. Through our extensive use of AI, Singapore is paving the way toward a data-driven and patient-centric model that could transform healthcare delivery for everyone. The continuous innovation in healthcare services and systems is only possible because of the creativity and perseverance of medical professionals like yourselves. And I'm hopeful and I'm optimistic that many of you here will go on to expand the depth and the breadth of our ecosystem of research and innovation in healthcare. Not only in the clinical treatment, but also in the prediction, in the preemption, as well as early customized intervention to improve the clinical outcomes for patients everywhere. I'm delighted to hear that earlier this year, Duke-NUS launched a graduate certificate program in health services innovation, in which I hear this has been in the works for some time. This certificate aims to equip clinicians with the desire and potential to innovate patient care with the necessary skill sets to bring about the change that they aspire. All of this at the core of the evidence-based practice premised on the scientific principles. I still hold on to the belief that medicine is an art. And it is through constant medical innovation. And as we continue to find new ways, we must always remember that these novel ways will help to heal and to sustain this beautiful masterpiece of art that is the human body. I hope that as all of you continue to transform the face of medicine in Singapore, your research and your innovations will have far-reaching impact on improving the lives of Singaporeans. However, I also hope that we must never forget to address and balance the inequities of healthcare treatment options, especially to our less fortunate and to our lower income fellow citizens. Increasing inequity in healthcare is a growing concern in Singapore as the costs of healthcare treatment continue to grow and in increasingly steeper gradients. Hence, I hope that your research and your innovation will not just break the ceiling of technological advancement, but it will also help to improve efficiencies and access to the care and support of the lower income segments and the population at large, who may need it more, but have difficulty in accessing it. As most of you would have come to realize by this time that most of what I've spoken about thus far doesn't really fit into the typical career trajectories of most medical graduates. Most medical graduates, like perhaps all of you here today, would choose and will become specialists or experts in your respective clinical disciplines. However, I would like to beg your indulgence for a couple of minutes just to allow me to share a bit about my own path. I decided to become a family physician after seeing how general practitioners have these special abilities in touching and healing members in the community, and more importantly, in caring for extended families across generations in a meaningful way. I've witnessed the need to integrate the care in a more holistic manner to improve the outreach because many extended families live across the island. With the white space that was there in the 90s, I then decided that I could become a medical entrepreneur by developing and growing the business of providing holistic primary care in an integrated fashion across the country. And fortunately, there were significant opportunities, both in the HDB heartlands, as well as the newly expanding industrial areas in Tuas, in Kaki Bukit, and in Changi. I was able to also ride on the business-friendly policies of the government in the 90s, notwithstanding the fact that funding opportunities at that particular point in time in the venture capital and private equity space were relatively nascent. The group my partners and I founded, Healthway Medical Group, did well enough in the private sector. This is in spite of, at that time, the lack of funding and help schemes. This is in contrast to the vast number of government-initiated schemes that we have available today. After growing rapidly and successfully divesting the group, I went to business school when I was in my late 30s and became a corporate executive in the tertiary hospital space upon graduation. This was the Parkway Group that Tom talked about earlier on. Leveraging on the solid Singapore brand name, again, we were able to grow, we were able to expand the healthcare service delivery franchise regionally, riding on the huge needs, the huge growth trajectories of many of the emerging markets in the region because they have a huge need and demand for good tertiary healthcare in the region. So when the opportunity came last year in the form of an invitation to join the government and contribute my services to the nation, I decided to accept and answer the calling to serve. This path of mine has been one that is less traveled for many of my classmates and my colleagues, but I have absolutely no regrets. Similarly, I hope that I can encourage all of the graduates here today and your friends and your colleagues to open up your minds to the myriad of opportunities that the world of healthcare can bring. You should continue, and I hope it is my earnest desire that you can continue to cultivate your interests beyond the field of medicine and extend your area of influence beyond your immediate community of friends and family. I hope that you find ways to give back to the larger community, be it through volunteering, working in NGOs, or even joining your medical fraternities, the chapters under the Academy, the Singapore Medical Association. And for many of you who want to pursue a career in family medicine, please join the College of Family Physicians. Share your experiences, contribute actively to teaching, contribute to mentoring future generations of doctors. This is so that you can enrich the lives of others. Now, Steve Jobs talked about connecting the dots. But I think that you can only connect the dots after you have seen the dots. Today, you are at the beginning of charting your dots, that of a lifelong calling, a career of commitment, a career of conviction. I hope that years later, you will all look back and remember that this is the moment it all started. Your family, your loved ones, your friends, your classmates, your teachers, and your alma mater. Never forget them. Look back always with the same sense of wonder, the same sense of curiosity, amazement, gratitude, and humility. As you embark on the different pathways after graduation, I am confident you will continue to value add to academia as well as to the medical community, as many Duke-NUS alumni have done before you. This has and will continue to be a differentiating and a distinguished trait of graduates from Duke-NUS. Before I end, I would like to share something I've learned in my early days as a young doctor that has remained true to this day. In decades past, doctors cure seldom, relieve often, and comfort always. I hope that today, with all the advances, we will never forget that the comfort of our patients should always be our priority and should always be a constant. With that, let me congratulate all of you, the class of 2021, once again on your graduation. I wish and I hope that you will find as much happiness and fulfillment in your careers as I did in my many years past as a family doctor, as a medical entrepreneur, a medical corporate executive, and now a public servant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister, for that stirring message. I would now like to invite our alumnus from the class of 2020, Dr. Dave Ng, to present the names of our graduating class of 2021. Dr. Ng, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Goh. Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Ng, alumnus from class of 2020. It is my honor to present the class of 2021. From the PhD cohort, Sonia Pankaj Shotani, Guan Pei Yong, Ku Ziting Audrey, Liu Mo, Tang Jing Yi, Teo Cui Rong, from the MD PhD cohort, Goh Xueqin Geraldine, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, Outstanding PhD or MD PhD student. Tan Te Yong. From the MD cohort, Hassan Abbas, An Jingzhi, Ang Yu Kai, Chang Huan Ying, awarded SingHealth Top Student Gold Medal, SingHealth Prize in Pediatrics, Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Achievement Prize, top score on the Duke-NUS exit exam, Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, top score in the graduating class on the US Medical Licensing Examination, Step 2, Clinical Knowledge. Chen Guangling, Chen Yihui, Kunihiko Chen, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, Most Outstanding Basic Science Research Thesis. Cheng Shihui, Che Bun Ming, Nella Chua Chi Yu, Julia Chuang, awarded SingHealth Xia Chengxiang Gold Medal in Medicine, SingHealth Prize in Obstetrics and Gynecology. Mark Goh Sen Liang, awarded Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Teamsmanship Award. Gerard Michael Heng Yi Tong, Huang Wei Hao Caleb, Huang Xiong Zheng Benjamin, San Jun Huang, Kyung Si Ying Julian, awarded SingHealth David Sebastian Gold Medal in Surgery. Panyashot Ket Yang Yun Wong, Ko Ling En, Lao Chin Chong, Lao Kin Man, Li Bi Chong, Lim Sin Ya, Lo Wan Li, Lo Zhen Luan, awarded SingHealth Prize in Neurology. Elon Ramos Mendez, awarded Academy of Medicine Singapore Medal for Outstanding Leadership. Institute of Mental Health Prize in Psychiatry. Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Teamsmanship Award. Stanislaw Mitu, Onita Lola Nae, awarded Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Teamsmanship Award. Neo Theng Hong, Ong Jun Yu, awarded Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Teamsmanship Award. Ong Lei Si, Ong Shao En Adria, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, top score on the second year clinical skills examination. Ong Shu Yu Andrea, awarded SingHealth Prize in Family Medicine. Nue Nue Lin Wu, awarded College of Physicians Prize in Internal Medicine. Felicia Danelle Rustandi, Seng Jun Jie Benjamin, awarded Singapore Medical Association Lee Foundation Teamsmanship Award. Emily So Ming Lee, awarded College of Family Physicians, Singapore, Prize in Family Medicine, NUSS Medal for Outstanding Achievement, Duke-NUS Humanism Award. Sharon Hannah Sani. Tan Hui Cheng Candy. Tan Rei Ling Sherilyn. Indora Tanudin. Sean Tae Lee Jian. Teo Ka Hui Brian. Sasinthiran, son of Thiagarajan. Irene Tu. Wee Po Hui. Wong Lai In Rachel, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, Most Outstanding Translational Science Research Thesis. Wong Xiang Yi. Wu Ting Zhen Cheryl. Yam Cheng Ting, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, Most Outstanding Clinical Science Research Thesis. Yi Xian Yang Sherman. Zhang Danquan. Zhang Zezhou, awarded Duke-NUS Achievement Prize, top score in the graduating class on the US Medical Licensing Examination, Step 1. Zhao Zhengzheng. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ng. Before we proceed to the next part of our program, we would like to take a group photograph of everyone here to commemorate this special day. Please, everyone, turn on your cameras and let's give the photographers a few moments to capture this moment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your very kind patience with that. So before we proceed to the next part of our program, I would just like to thank Dr. Ng for presenting the whole class. We are now honored to have both Duke University and the National University of Singapore be a part of officiating our significant and key milestones each year. This afternoon, we are very privileged to have NUS President Professor Tan Chai, who will be addressing us a little later. However, due to the time difference, Duke University representatives are unable to join us this year. They have, however, prepared a short congratulatory video for the class of 2021. Please enjoy.
Hello, I am Eugene Washington, Chancellor for Health Affairs at Duke University and President and CEO of the Duke University Health System. I'm unable to be with you in person this year, but I do want to say to you, on behalf of all at Duke Health, congratulations. And although this celebration is not like anything you may have imagined when you first came to Duke-NUS Medical School. It is one that you certainly will remember. Importantly, you are graduating at a time when your services will be required more than they were ever in the past. The world needs your professionalism, adaptability, resilience, commitment, and courage, all of which you have shown over the last few years, and more specifically, since the beginning of the pandemic. You are the generation that will transform medicine and harness new technologies to improve the health of communities locally and globally. As Duke-NUS graduates, you are well prepared to go out into the world and advance scientific discovery and knowledge and provide highest quality care to your patients and to educate the next generation of health professionals, as well as to improve health in the communities that you will be serving. And we know that you are ready to take your learnings and experiences here to transform medicine and impact lives around the world. We know that you also take with you that same sense of camaraderie and teamwork that you exhibited while you were here as students, that you would draw on the power of the people that you are working with from day to day, recognizing that it is the interdisciplinary nature and collaborative efforts of teams that really drive innovation and in the end, inspire excellence and enhance impact. And as you prepare to leave Duke-NUS Medical School, we know that this graduation is very much about hope. Hope for the future, a bright future that is embodied through you. A future we know where you will be out in the world practicing the values that make Duke-NUS a premier academic institution in the world. Values that you will always represent: courage, integrity, compassion, and collaboration. So, congratulations again to each one of you. We are proud of you and look forward to the many ways in which you will contribute to improving health in Singapore and around the world.
I would now like to invite NUS President, Professor Tan-Eng Chai, to say a few words. President.
Thank you. Guest of honor, Dr. Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry. Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO of SingHealth. Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman and members of the board. Mr. Tony Chew, Founding Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board. Mr. Kai Nagawala, former Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman. Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean, Duke-NUS. To the class of 2021, families and friends, congratulations on reaching this important milestone in your life. Having completed your education amidst this disruptive pandemic, you have worked hard to overcome many unprecedented challenges and emerge triumphant as a class. Today, we celebrate your achievements as you prepare to embark on the next phase of your journey. I'm confident that as a cohort who has weathered such a major storm together, you are well prepared for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead of you. In 2005, Duke-NUS was born as a result of a landmark collaboration between Duke University and the National University of Singapore to establish Singapore's only graduate entry medical school with the vision of transforming medicine and improving lives. Since then, Duke-NUS has partnered with SingHealth to create an innovative, all-rounded graduate program that has trained and honed you as accomplished clinicians with many exciting career pathways ahead of you. The COVID-19 pandemic has made unmistakably clear that Singapore and the world needs your skills, talents, and compassion. As our future generation of clinicians, doctors, researchers, and critical thinkers, we look forward to your contributions to help make our world safer, stronger, and healthier. I would also like to take the opportunity to welcome you to the wider NUS alumni community and hope that you will seek opportunities to give back to Singapore, much like alumni before you have done so. Once again, my heartiest congratulations to the class of 2021. I wish you every happiness and success as you take on the important role of molding the future of healthcare in Singapore.
Thank you, Professor Tan. The next part of our program is a very significant moment for this graduating MD class of 2021. I'm delighted to invite Vice Dean of Education, Professor Ian Curran, who is joining us all the way from the UK. So please say a few words and then lead the class in the recital of the Hippocratic Oath. Professor Curran, please.
Thank you, Suzanne, and good afternoon. Greetings from the United Kingdom. It's a bright and early morning over here. I hope everyone is safe and well in Singapore, and I look forward to being back with you soon. I'm delighted to be able to join this virtual celebration for the class of 2021 and to add my personal congratulations to each of our Duke-NUS graduates today, to recognise their achievements. It's my honour to lead the MD class of 2021 and fellow medical colleagues in the public declaration of the Hippocratic Oath. As we come together virtually, to commemorate the outstanding achievements of our graduating class, let us also reflect for a few moments on the significance and relevance of the Hippocratic Oath to the medical profession. An ancient oath attributed to Hippocrates, a Greek physician from the 4th century BC, considered by many to be the father of medicine. The Hippocratic Oath sets out the principles and values, a code of medical ethics, by which a physician should practice medicine. Although written nearly 2,500 years ago, the oath is as relevant today as ever and provides all physicians with guidance and advice as to how they should practice medicine for the benefit and care of their patients. Today's celebrations marks a significant point of personal transition for each of our graduating class of 2021, and through their individual and collective public declaration of the Hippocratic Oath, it confirms their acceptance of their personal and professional responsibilities as they join the medical profession. Without further ado, I would like to invite fellow physicians present who would also like to retake the oath to please all unmute your mics and join the graduating class and I to recite the Hippocratic Oath together. Class of 2021, please turn on your mics. I understand the oath will be shown in the chat panel, and I invite participants to recite clearly after me as I lead the oath. The Oath of Hippocrates. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear.
By whatever I hold most sacred.
Whatever I hold most sacred.
That I will be loyal to the profession of medicine.
I will be loyal to the profession of
medicine.
and just and generous to its members.
and just and generous to its members.
That I will lead my life and practice my art
That I will lead my life, practice my art
in uprightness and honor.
In uprightness
and honor.
That into whatsoever home I shall enter,
into whatsoever home
I shall enter,
it shall be for the good of the sick and the well,
shall be
for the good of the
sick
sick and the well,
to the utmost of my power.
to the
utmost of our power.
And that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption,
and hold myself
aloof
from corruption
and from the tempting of others to vice.
and from the tempting of
Others to
vice.
vice.
That I will exercise my art
Will exercise my art
solely for the cure of my patients
solely for the cure of my patients
and the prevention of disease,
Prevention of disease.
and will give no drugs and perform no operation
No operation
for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such a thing,
for criminal
purposes
suggest such a thing.
that so that whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men,
and whatsoever I
I
shall
shall see or hear of the lives of
Lives
men,
of men,
which is not fitting to be spoken,
which is not
not
spoken.
I will keep inviolably secret.
I will keep
Inviolably
secret.
These things I do promise,
These things
I do promise,
in proportion as I am faithful to this oath,
proportion
as I am faithful to this oath.
may happiness and good repute be ever mine.
happiness and good repute for mine.
Ever mine.
The opposite, if I shall be forsworn.
The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
Thank you all. It's always incredibly moving to be part of this affirmation of the personal and professional values that underpin our medical profession. And with that, I'll return you back to Suzanne from a sunny London.
Thank you, Professor Karan. In the following segment, we have produced a short montage to capture the achievements of our graduating PhD and MD PhD students, together with their mentors who have successfully guided them through their research journeys. Please enjoy. Now, the PhD cohort have nominated Dr. Geraldine Goh to present the graduation speech. Dr. Goh, please.
Guest of honor, Dr. Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry, Professor Tan Eng Chai, President of the National University of Singapore, Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO of SingHealth, Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman, and members of the board, Mr. Tony Chu, Founding Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board, Mr. Kai Nargawala, former Duke-NUS Governing Board Chairman, Professor Thomas Kaufman, Dean of Duke-NUS, Deans and Faculty, Class of 2021 and their families, friends and colleagues. I am deeply honored to be representing this year's PhD and MD-PhD students from the Class of 2021. My name is Geraldine Goh. This is a time like no other. With the rise in COVID-19 cases worldwide, it is heartbreaking to witness this devastating health crisis caused by a single virus, SARS coronavirus 2. But if I may, I would now bring us a few years back to 2015 to reminisce the beginnings of our PhD journey. As then newly minted PhD candidates, we first began our foray into the wild in room 4D of Duke-NUS, surrounded by our soon-to-be peers and welcoming research faculty, who all gave enthusiastic spiels about their research fields. Who would have known I would end up spending the last 5 years of my life studying bat immunology, then an unknown frontier deemed irrelevant to medicine? Our lives were filled with lab meetings, discussions with our postdocs, designing our very first experiment, and then redesigning that same experiment for the 100th time after it failed to yield results. According to our year of PhD study, our moods ranged from elated, beginner's luck, to delighted after passing our PQE exams, to depressed in our third year after multiple failed experiments, and finally becoming determined to succeed. I remember in my third year sitting in the darkest corner of academia building, running flow cytometry samples at 2 a.m. as usual, in an experiment which then promptly failed again. At that moment, I wondered dejectedly, would my project ever work out? And I'm sure many of my PhD peers can relate to this very question and the accompanying frustration and misery. Yet in all of this, our proverbial village never faltered. Words cannot express how grateful we are to our incredible family and friends who have stayed by our side, cheering us on in every endeavor or struggle, and becoming our constant pillars of support. Today, I would like to take a moment to recognize all of these important people in our lives. However, there is more to the proverb, for not only does it take a village to raise a child, but it also takes a society to raise a generation. As Duke-NUS reaches 16 years old, I would like to also recognize the many mentors who have crafted our unique program and are integral to this microcosm and home that we call Duke-NUS. Special thanks to Prof. Silke Vogel, Rosilla, and Catherine, who have provided endless guidance and advice in navigating the requirements of the PhD program. To our Dean, Prof. Thomas Kaufman, and Senior Vice Dean of Research, Prof. Patrick Casey, thank you for all that you've done to champion the Duke-NUS Research and Medicine program all these years. To my mentor, Prof. Lim Fa Wang, and all the mentors here today, thank you for all that you have invested in us and being the giants on whose shoulders that we stand. Thank you for giving us the freedom to intellectually explore and the opportunities to shine in providing just the right words of advice, scientific acumen, and encouragement whenever we meet with challenges along the way. I would also like to thank our director for the MD-PhD program, Professor Ong Tin Tiong, for his visionary leadership and building of our program to what it is today. To my MD classmates who have graciously accepted us into your class, thank you for all the encouragement and help that you have selflessly offered us, even as we worried over completing the various USMLE Step 2 and CPX4 exams. As a cohort, we may be from different countries, different cultures, traditions, and backgrounds. But we have one single vision, and that is to continue advancing our collective knowledge one step at a time in whichever scientific or clinical field we may enter in the future. I believe no matter how small the steps we take or how uphill the battle feels, that every effort is worthy of applause. A quote from Nobel laureate Marie Curie struck me as a timely reminder. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more, so that we may fear less. Like many people, I actually used to be afraid of bats. But in studying their immune system over the past few years, I've come to appreciate their unique role as a reservoir for coronaviruses and other pathogens. During this deadly pandemic, I watched as Duke-NUS mentors and colleagues studied SARS-CoV-2 in the lab, developed highly specific antibody testing, and established advanced clinical trials for a vaccine candidate. These vital efforts afford a greater understanding of the pandemic, helping overcome a climate of fear and misinformation. Yet besides this being a time for greater understanding, now is also a time for greater kindness to oneself, to others, to patients, colleagues, and loved ones. I hope that when you feel stretched to the limit, that your limits instead will be stretched, that you will fly further, think wider, and pour yourself out more. And often this not by ourselves, but by drawing on one another's strengths, encouragement, and resources. This society will always have enough if we open up our hearts and share what we have. So let us continue to press on in this exciting and challenging 1,000-mile journey to come. So finally, a huge congratulations to all the Duke-NUS graduates of 2021. Let us celebrate today. And now it is my pleasure to invite the empty class speaker, Isaac Ong, to give his speech. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Geraldine. Guest of honor, Dr. Tan See Leng, Minister for Manpower and Second Minister for Trade and Industry. Professor Tan Eng Chai, President of National University of Singapore. Professor Ivy Ng, Group CEO, SingHealth. Mr. Goh Yu Lin, Mr. Tony Chu, Mr. Kai Nagawala, President, Founding, and former Chairman of the Duke-NUS Governing Board. Members of the board, Professor Thomas Kaufman, our Dean, faculty, alumni, and everybody else. Thank you for being here today. Let me start with a riddle. As Geraldine put it, if it takes a village to raise a child, what then does it take to raise the class of 2021? Today is a day of joy and, importantly, a day of gratitude. I first want to thank our families and friends for standing by us in our decision to pursue medicine. Medicine is a demanding and challenging career, especially today in the throes of a global pandemic. On behalf of class of 2021, I want to say that we love you and thank you for loving us. We also want to thank the faculty, the administration, and the clinicians, without whom today would not be possible. Shout out to Dr. Sonali. You are also very close to our hearts as well. To our fellow clinicians, we are humbled and eager to work alongside you come 24th of June, our first day as practicing doctors. Like any good medical student, I prepared how to write a commencement speech using Google and Wikipedia. A good commencement speech should be inspirational, with real-life anecdotes and sprinkled with tasteful humor. I decided I could do none of that, so I went with this instead. I want to tell you two stories, nothing fancy, just two stories. Once upon a time, a troop of monkeys came across an immensely tall tower in the forest. First out of curiosity, then as a challenge, they began to climb the tower to see if they could make it to the top. As the sun came up, the monkeys started to sweat and tire. They began questioning themselves. Wow, we'll never make it. Why are we even climbing this tower in the first place? One by one, then in droves, the monkeys stopped climbing and began to relax in the shade. They laughed at how foolish they were until one of them pointed out that a small monkey was still climbing the tower. Slowly but surely, the monkey inched its way to the top. As the small monkey descended from the tower, the other monkeys had gathered around him, curious to find out how it made its way to the very top. To their surprise, they realized that the small monkey was born deaf. It did not hear the other monkeys talk about giving up and did not realize it was the only monkey left climbing the tower. If reaching the top of this tower is an analogy for success, making this climb requires perseverance and the ability to tune out self-doubt, distractions, and the skepticism of others. But what I really took away from the parable is this: why are we climbing the tower in the first place? Life as a physician is difficult and complicated. We will face choices, be it in caring for our patients, making good on our social commitments, and trying to advance in our careers, all of which will often be out of our control. Through the good days, and especially the bad, let us keep faith with what has brought us all here in the first place, that one man or woman can make a positive impact in the lives of others. My second story takes place in Iceland. Did you know that Iceland is the most unlikely football success story? Due to its harsh winter climate, football can only be played outdoors no more than 5 to 6 months a year. In a country with less than 350,000 inhabitants, they only have 100 professional football players. And yet, this is a country that has made it to both the European Championship and the World Cup finals. How, you may ask? Iceland built all-weather football fields, some inside glass dome structures, to allow children and adults alike to play football even during winter. A sweeping majority of coaches in Iceland also go through professional training and licensing. Children as young as 5 to 6 years old are taught by paid and licensed professionals, not volunteers or amateurs. SingHealth and Duke-NUS share an ambitious vision, defining tomorrow's medicine. I asked myself, what is tomorrow's medicine? The first and only answer that came to mind was the success of Uğur Şahin and Özlem Türeci, an oncologist and immunologist duo. You may be aware of how mRNA technology was once derided as science fiction, the molecule being too unstable to work with. The two clinicians persisted over a decade in mRNA research, overcoming not only the skepticism of their peers, but I'm sure at times of themselves, to produce a highly safe and effective vaccine within a year from the outbreak of COVID-19. When I look at the transformational research coming out of Germany and the US, I wonder to myself, can medicine in Singapore improve the lives of millions of others on a similar magnitude? The answer from Iceland is yes. Our school's inspiration to train clinician scientists, even at the nascent stage of their career, is akin to Iceland, to aim for a similar triumph over the limits of a small talent pool and over an increasingly impatient environment that demands instant gratification and results. As in both parables, defining tomorrow's medicine is our quiet confidence that the work we do here will bear fruit. If not today, then tomorrow. It is our equally disquieting determination that we punch above our weight in the impact of our work. If not today, then tomorrow. Throughout medical school, I've had consultants and medical officers literally hold my hand to demonstrate how to cut a suture or retract an open wound. I've had nurses and allied health workers teach me how to care for patients, rehabilitate them, and dispense medication safely. My patients, my family, and friends constantly bring me back to earth by teaching me while there's a lot that I do know, there's far more that I do not. Not to mention the army of faculty, administrators, and clinicians all gathered here today. Our achievement is your accomplishment. So what does it take to raise 56 doctors in the class of 2021? 56 villagers. Field jokes aside, it takes an entire community putting in the hard work day in and day out to educate the next generation of clinicians, scientists, policymakers. It takes a community that cares about each other, be it students, nurses, PSAs, to ensure none of our colleagues fall through the cracks. It doesn't just take a lot of work from us graduating today. It asks a lot from all of you too. For that, we are forever grateful. Today, the joy begins. Today, the work begins. Years of studying and hard work have led up to this very moment, and nothing, not a global pandemic or the lack of a buffet reception after this ceremony, can take away the significance of our achievement. Class of 2021, I'm immensely excited and proud to graduate alongside all of you. When we meet each other in the wards, I look forward to sharing a smile, a cup of coffee, and a good story. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ong. And thank you both of you for that inspiring, for sharing your inspiring messages. This is indeed a very proud moment for all of us as we celebrate each one of you and your achievements, especially in the midst of this time of great challenge. You have clearly demonstrated that you have what it takes to persevere and overcome. So as you venture forth, be it as a clinician providing excellent patient care, breaking new research ground, or pioneering new innovations in other fields and realms, remember your identity as part of Duke-NUS. The path that lies ahead may have many potholes, but to borrow the words of Nelson Mandela, the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So as you begin this next adventure, don't be afraid of falling or failing. Just make sure you get up each time. And when you need help doing that, know that your Duke-NUS family will always be here for you. You have done us proud and will no doubt continue to do so. So everyone, please join me now in unmuting your microphones and applauding for our graduates. Congratulations, class of 2021. On behalf of the school, I wish to thank all of you for joining us today to celebrate our students' outstanding achievements. Please stay on a few minutes longer as we would like to invite everyone, including all families and friends, to turn on your cameras and join us in our signature Duke-NUS Zoom wave. This will be followed by a photo montage of family moments in recognition of the tremendous support all of you have provided through the years. So please wave now as we pan through the screens. Thank you once again and have a very good evening.
They will pan through. But didn't pan through.
Just give us a moment while we get the photo montage up. Thank you. So thank you everyone again for joining us for this. I think the music track has not been able to be launched, but I think you've created your own symphony today. So thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.